Hello everyone and welcome to another science video with the Massachusetts Regional Library. I'm Miss Stephanie, one of the children's librarians here, and this month's experiment, we were going to explore the world of light and color, which we maybe don't think has a lot of science behind it, but there's a lot of cool stuff we can learn from it. And the best way that I found to learn about light and color was through making our very own kaleidoscope. Now, you may have a toy kaleidoscope or seen a kaleidoscope, but basically what it is you hold it up to the light and you turn it and you can see all sorts of cool things and patterns due to the mirrors inside. And so we're going to make our own, and we can make our own through things we found around the house. There is a couple items that we may have to do you may have to do substitutions for. I'll point those out and offer some of the substitutions that I used that worked well. And I'm also going to provide some information in the next slide that your adult can use if they want to find something that you don't have around the house for this experiment. Now, to make a kaleidoscope, you'll need a few things. The first is a toilet paper tube, and if you don't have one, you can just use a paper towel roll and cut it to about the size of a toilet paper tube. You'll need some white paper. You'll need glue. A glue stick or Elmer's glue have both worked well. You will need a bendy straw, markers if you want to decorate. There is also, you'll need to trace for your discs for your kaleidoscope. You'll need like a CD or something about a similar size because you'll need to use the pencil to poke a hole through it. And then scissors. And if you want to make it really shiny and make some really cool patterns, you can I use sequins, but glitter confetti, they both work as well. Now, the last thing is something that may be a little hard to find. This is called a mylar sheet. And mylar is a material that is kind of like a mirror. It reflects very well. I ordered this online. However, you may not find it in stores nearby. There is some in Michael's and Hobby Lobby here in Harrisonburg. Also, you can use a mylar blanket. However, if you have a hard time finding those things, you can just use some aluminum foil and some cardboard to put in your toilet paper tube. It won't work quite as well, but it will still give you some really cool patterns that you can use with your new kaleidoscope. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's get started in making our kaleidoscope. And the first thing we'll do is we have our toilet paper tube. Now you can decorate it if you want with markers. For mine, I took white paper and colored it and then used my glue stick to get it to stay. But it's up to you. You can just use the toilet paper tube. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a disc for our kaleidoscope. And the disc is here's mine, and I'm going to show you how to make yours too. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of the white paper. It could be construction paper, printer paper, both of those work very well. Put your CD or something about the size of the CD on the paper. Take your pencil, trace it, and then you can decorate it however you want. You can use the markers. As you can see, I've glued sequins to mine because, as I mentioned earlier, if you put sequins or glitter, it's going to help our kaleidoscope because the light will reflect off this and create even more cool patterns. However, if you just want to draw markers on it, you'll still get some patterns because of the reflective surface that we are going to put inside our tube. So now you've decorated your circle. You just go ahead and use your scissors to cut it out. I'm just going to use my disc to show you guys how to use it in a little bit, but first we need to get the mirror in the toilet paper tube. So we got our toilet paper tube right here, and like I said, there's a lot of different things we can use. What I am going to use is called a mylar sheet, and as you can see my reflection in it pretty well, almost as well as like a piece of glass or mirror. And so this is going to do a great job of reflecting the disc inside the kaleidoscope. You can see it's even reflecting the light right now. But as you can see, it's way too big to put in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it and put it in here. Now, I did want to mention something else because mylar sheets are online, and sometimes maybe your adult can't get a hold of a mylar sheet, and there's something that you would more likely have in your place. So another thing that I would recommend using is getting a piece of cardboard. And aluminum foil is very reflective too. It's not as clear, as you can tell, it's not as clear as the mylar sheet, but it's still really cool and it can still produce some patterns. So what you could do is you could use your scissors to cut this so that into a strip. I'm going to just cut one strip to show you. Make sure it's about the right size. Yes, this will fit in there. I'm going to have to make it a little smaller though. So I'm going to cut this in half. And then I'm going to wrap this in aluminum foil. And this piece is a little big, so I'm going to cut this as well. Now, in aluminum foil, there is a shiny side and there is a duller side. You want the shiny side to be up. So I'm going to wrap this with the shiny side up. Try to get it as smooth as possible, but if you can't, that's fine too. You're still going to get some really cool patterns. So wrap it up really good. You may want to use a piece of Scotch tape to make it in place, but usually aluminum foil will stay. And then you'll just slide it in your toilet paper tube and you'll create a few more of these to make your kaleidoscope. Now today, I'm just going to show you with the Mylar sheet. So what I did was I cut this Mylar sheet. It was very thin, so I was able to bend it like this. And now I'm going to bend it and slide it in the toilet paper tube. And it may take you a few times to get it in here. So there we go. So we got the mirrors inside, but how are we going to see the discs and see all the shiny things that the light reflects and creates patterns? Well, what we need is we need that straw. So let's get that straw out. So you need a bendy straw because this can be good for you to create new discs. So what we're going to do is you may have to trim your straw. I think my straw is a good size, so I'm just going to go ahead. You can glue it on, but I found that taping it works a little better, so let me go ahead and tape this. Let me tape a couple pieces. Okay, so now you want there to be some room for the light to get in between your disc and the toilet paper tube, which has the shiny objects, either the Mylar or the aluminum foil in it. Now, to put our disc on, as you can see, there's a hole right here, and I used a pencil to go all the way through and create a nice hole, because what we're going to do is we're going to slip it onto the end of the bendy straw. So let me slip this on. It's good, it's big enough. You want it to be good size, like so it's not too tight. Oh, I put it on the wrong way. And the shiny stuff is going to face the inside of the tube. Let me put this on. I'm having a little trouble, but that's okay. There we go. Now, you want to make sure that it's up so it doesn't fall off. And you want to make sure that your disc, you can turn your disc to do the patterns. And it's a little loose, but if that's the case, it'll still work good. But if you want it a little tighter on the straw, you can use some tape to get it into place. Now, so you have your discs. So you look through, and this is going to be a little interesting, but then you just spin your discs, and you can see all the patterns that are created. You can do it slowly, you can do it quickly, and you can just see how the light is reflecting, and because since we have filled the tube with mirror, which reflects light, and then there are shiny objects at the end of mine, the sequins, which reflect light, it creates interesting patterns of color. And when I turn it, it makes the light turn different things. And I hope you can see all the cool patterns that you can make, but I think the coolest part about it is you're not just limited to one disc. You can take this off, and you can use this. You can make your own patterns, and then you can just slide it onto the straw as well and turn that and see all the cool patterns. So the possibilities are endless, and what's great is about science is like trying new things, and with this kaleidoscope and making new discs, you can see all the different patterns in light that happen with it. So there is a kaleidoscope. Well, I hope you enjoyed making your kaleidoscope as much as I did. I also hope that you find ways to experiment with different things that can reflect inside the toilet paper tube, like mirrors and aluminum foil, and also creating discs that you get. Like the amount of patterns you can get are infinite because you can switch out the discs, as I said earlier. And I also found this month, I found a lot of good books actually related to light, color, kaleidoscopes, and mirrors. So I'll just share a few of them with you right now. The first is, if you had fun with this experiment, I found a book called Super Simple Experiments with Light and Color, which most of these experiments I feel that you can use finding things around your house or home. And here's like one ways to do light beams. I think my favorite one though is creating a flashlight color show with cellophane. If you watched my last month's video with the 3D glasses, you could use some of that cellophane to do this experiment as well. And also, you can do a fun experiment with light and jelly beans. So like I said, if you're interested in light and color science, this is the book for you. And then my next two books are 2-chapter books. One is for kind of like maybe 1st, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, but I do think older kids can enjoy this one. And then this one is more for 3rd and 5th. The first one is called 8 Princesses in a Magic Mirror. And this one is a lot of fun because the basic story is it's about an enchantress who wants to know what makes a princess excellent and good. And so what she does is she has a magic mirror and she just throws it to earth, and different princesses all around the world find this mirror and they use it to do really cool things. And what I like is that the princesses, you know, some of them are pretty and all, but they use the mirror to do really cool things based on being kind, being smart and clever, and just being brave. And so all 8 stories are pretty good. I'll tell you my one favorite, though, is where the Princess Tika, she uses her mirror to get a pet crocodile. And obviously the people in her kingdom didn't really understand why she wanted to get a pet crocodile, which could possibly eat them. And so this story is really funny because Tika is pretty clever about using ways to prevent the crocodile from hurting other people, but to also show her subjects that, hey, he's not so bad. That particular one's not so bad. And she all does it with her mirror. So that one, 8 Princesses in a Magic Mirror, I definitely recommend, because also if you just want to read about 1 or 2 princesses, you can just do that as well. And then the second book, I saw the title was called Kaleidoscope, and as we're making a kaleidoscope, I thought this would be a good book to share. And it's about 2 boys. You don't know the name of one of the main characters, but he has a friend named James, and they have a kaleidoscope together, and both of them kind of feel like outcasts, and they use the kaleidoscope just to kind of go through time. It's like kind of a fantasy, go through time and just find different ways to like deal with their loneliness, and they become really good friends and it's a little sad at times and but it's also hopeful, and their friendship is really sweet and nice to see unfold. And what also is cool that the author, Brian Selnick, he does this in his other books as well, he does a lot of black and white illustrations, and what he did was he did different kaleidoscope patterns in black and white. So I'll just show you, this is one of my favorites, and I'll show you one more favorite real quick. And here's another one. So I would recommend this book if you'd like a very good fantasy read about friendship. So thank you so much for joining me once again for another science video. I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Have a good day. Bye.